I was wondering if I actually gave you guys the pills or not.
Okay, I don't think. Okay.
If I didn't give it to you, it's because I think I realized after I sent that email, I gave you guys more of the Herald.
Okay, cool. Yeah, all right, that's perfect. Because I was like, when I got home and I looked at the email, I'm like, come on, stole my damn pills, man. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yo, welcome to Beers and Bars,
your place for rapid fire hip hop discussion and of course great beer.
I am Kamal Kiddo.
OT the Golden Child. Big shout out to the homie for stopping through the show last week. Make sure you check out his project.
Do-rag emoji.
Yes, streaming everywhere,
All streaming platforms. Yes.
We are continuing with our with guests. We're talking to people regardless of whether they're creators, music, or guys from breweries, whatever the case may be. We have another guest with us today. We're gonna let him introduce himself. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, I am Mike Gemma. I'm from Haymarket Beer Company here in the West Loop of Chicago, as well as our other location in our production facility in Southwest Michigan, a town called Bridgman. Between New Buffalo and St. Joe Benton Harbor area, for those of you familiar with that area. But only about an hour and 15-minute drive door to door.
Got it.
Right on. Mike Gemma, everyone. Mike Gemma in the building.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah,
proud to be here.
Good to have you, man.
We're going to talk to Mike today about what he does over at Haymarket. And, just what he got going on over there, how's it been going and all of that. But before we do all of that, what are we drinking, fellas? Fellas, what are we drinking?
Come on, I'll kick it off, man. So obviously we have Mike here with us today, so we're going to all be having, beer from Haymarket. I am checking out you guys, Chicago Tavern beer. This is a lager coming in at 5.5% here. I haven't had this yet, so I get the chance for once to actually crack open a beer, because normally when we do the show, I'm bringing beers from out my beer fridge,
I'll read about it while you pour it there, sir. Chicago Tavern beer is a 5.5% alcohol volume. Is brewed in honor of the fine tavern licensed establishment that add to the rich fabric of the many neighborhoods making up the great city of Chicago.
Chi-town,
a classic Dortmunder. Is that right? Dortmunder style lager.
Absolutely.
Crisp and clean. It's a beer and a shot beer.
Mm-hmm.
Beer flavored beer, if you will.
There you go. Beer flavored. Yeah, so I'm trying to
flavored beer.
Look, so Mike, on the show, I don't know if you listen, I consider myself, I'm trying to coin a term called basic bitch IPA guy. That's me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always drinking IPA. So it's good to get a nice crisp, clean lager to kind of cleanse my palate, switch it up instead of my IP ass is what I would say, IPA ass.
Nice. We got to get those going.
It's good though. It's good beer, man.
Hey man, the Chicago Tavern beer is one of my absolute favorites right now. It's like you say, it's a beer flavored beer. It's the one that you think about when you went to your favorite neighborhood corner bar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dirty, grimy / you sit on there and they've got the same bottle of Malort on the back shelf that's collecting dust.
Hey,
and it's that shot in the beer kind of beverage. There's a time and a place for everything. We love our craft beers, our IPAs as well, but sometimes you just need a tavern beer.
No, yeah, this is very good. I've been trying to get to my, to try to switch it up some. I've been having some good lagers lately. This is a good lager. I had a lager from Goldfinger recently as well.
Yeah.
It was pretty fucking good. So, yeah.
They've been cranking out some great beers.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Who wants to go next? Let's go to Mike. What does Mike have over there?
Well, I'm on your same train. I got
nice.
Well. It's been a long day. I went back to Michigan and now I'm back in Chicago. So it's one of those shot in a beer type of days.
Nice. I'm actually having blood orange blonde.
Nice.
Ale flavored with blood orange. Let me crack this open. I'm not even sure what ABV this is.
Come on, you go. And
5%.
There you go.
5%.
Summer is calling and wants you to enjoy this sunshine in a can. Brewed with real blood orange juice. This beer isn't sweet as you may think, and it's refreshingly fruity. So there you go.
That looks rich. I like that. I picked this one because of the colors. It's already popping. You know what I'm saying? It's getting a little warmer outside. We did have snow the other day in Chicago, but it's getting a little warmer.
As you do, as Chicago and the Midwest does.
You know what I'm saying?
So cheers, fellas. Let's get into talking.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers. That's rich. That's good. That's good. Let me just say, wait, hold on. This is what type of beer is this?
It's an American blonde ale.
Blonde ale.
Yeah, there's a touch of wheat in there on the grain, but mostly Pilsner malt and that refreshing blood orange juice. We kind of like to start all of our beers finish them out lower so that there's less residual sugar. You don't have that sweetness at the end that you feel like you're scraping your tongue. You want to go back for a couple more. So.
Let's start there. As far as we getting into it, OT. Let's go.
Yes.
So Mike, Gemma, first of all, what do you do up at Haymarket? What's your title?
My title is Director of Operations, which I'm pretty sure is intentionally broad because I wear a lot of hats and kind of help in most departments that need help. But I would say the majority of what I do from day to day is manage our distribution, as well as some marketing, and kind of just make sure that people are communicating within the company itself, and then help with a lot of our external projects and community outreach, and kind of whatever needs doing.
So how long have you been with Haymarket?
I have been with the company since before we opened our doors 10 years ago.
Wow.
Our brewmaster, his name is Pete Crowley. He's kind of a legend in the craft beer world, especially in the Midwest in particular. But he's been brewing professionally for, I believe, 25, 26 years. And he and I actually met 16 years ago when I started working at Rock Bottom Brewery downtown Chicago at State and Grand.
Yeah.
He was the brewmaster there and the regional brewer.
They got fire burgers over there.
Yes, they do. I worked there for 5 years before heading over here when I found out that Pete was opening up his own spot finally. And he actually reached out and asked if I had any interest in coming to get in on the ground floor. And you can't really pass up an opportunity to see something from the beginning. And it's been a wild 10 years, and I'm very grateful and fortunate to be in the position that I have been.
Nice.
Right on. Haymarket Brewery is in what neighborhood is that?
West Loop.
We are in the West Loop.
Loop,
we're at Randolph and Halstead.
So you all have every time I go by there is a old truck outside.
The old beer truck.
Yes, the old beer truck. What's the story behind that? Is it in operation? Do you all use it? What's going on with that truck?
It does technically drive. It is a 1940s Ford old flatbed truck that actually was an old Budweiser truck. So Pete's business partner who founded Haymarket, his name is John Newrouter. John actually is a car fanatic. He loves classic cars. He loves new cars. He's a gearhead for sure. But when we were opening the brewery, he was starting to look around for classic beer trucks, and he found this one down in Oklahoma, and he was like, "Oh, this is amazing. We'll just put the Haymarket logo on the side, and I'm going to go down to Oklahoma, and I'm going to drive it back up." Well, this thing does not have power steering, no AC except for rolling down the windows, and I'm pretty sure he was going to leave it on the side of the road somewhere north of Oklahoma, north of Tulsa.
Wow.
Like didn't even get out of almost didn't get out of the state with it. It's that painful to drive. It's clunky, it bounces up and down, but it looks awesome.
It does. It does. I mean, it definitely looks like, one of those old beer trucks. I immediately think like Dutch Schultz and all of them.
Yeah.
Like those old gangster movies.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure it garners attraction, right?
Definitely.
I mean, it's
a lot of people stopping and taking pictures with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it adds a little something more, and turns some heads. In downtown Chicago, you get a lot of people kind of. They almost take it for granted. The hustle and bustle of everything. Maybe not so much these days, but pre-pandemic, we got a lot of people walking around the streets, and sometimes you just fail to stop and look up and see all the beautiful architecture. Something that's eye-catching at ground level, like a beer truck like that. It helps to kind of steer people towards your front door.
Yeah.
Right on. Speaking of steering people towards your front door, how has the pandemic treated you all?
It sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
For everybody though, everybody's going through something in different industries, at a personal level at home and whatnot. Our industry, bars and restaurants, breweries, wineries, distilleries, it sucks. Especially those that have brick and mortar places. It's sad when you dedicate your life to having people inside and you build out a plan to, have a 9,000 square foot brew pub like we have, and you can seat up to 300 people, and then you get told nobody. And obviously the goal is to make sure the health of your community and everybody is there and intact, but it's painful. It really is. Not having anybody in, it sucks the life out of what you had built over all of these years. But we're starting to see signs of life coming back, and we're now at 50% occupancy for dine-in, and while not anywhere close to what we need to try and start recouping from what we lost through the pandemic and through the shutdowns. It's just a good feeling again to see people, and we're starting to see new faces as well, which again, it kind of breathes a little bit of life back into what we're trying to create again, for that community, that culture that we set out to build.
Right on.
I have a question with that. How have things been since, obviously, I think maybe a week or two ago, we're in tier 1, I believe, right? That's the tier. Yeah. How has it been since you guys have kind of opened back up to, I guess half capacity and whatnot?
Yeah. So we're now tier 4, I believe, going the other direction. So tier 5 would be back to normal.
Gotcha. Okay.
But at tier 4 right now, it's a very hard conversation to have, because at the base level, you want everybody to be safe. We are truly in a pandemic, and we need to look out for one another. And if that means staying home, then you stay home. A lot of businesses have pivoted. We have now instituted a direct home delivery system that we run Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which has been good in a kind of a lifeline way to keep our product in front of people who can't come and see us at the brew pub. But it adds levels of stress. It adds levels of, basically it's just a lot of challenges, because that's not how we built out the business to begin with. But it's been a learning experience, and while frustrating, and the top line is nowhere close to what it used to be. You look for the silver linings. You look for things that you otherwise wouldn't have had to learn how to do. And now I feel like we're going to come out of it a little bit stronger and more educated.
Yeah, man. Ironically enough, this whole thing, speaking to that fact of, learning new things, me and Kamal, we've probably had more conversations and interviews and talks with people, in the past year because we had to learn, we got to do Zoom now, because outside of our random meetups and whatnot for beer and whatnot, we do these shows online. So I think everybody's had to adjust, but found out, some new things within this whole process. So it's been a little crazy.
Yeah, my beer journey is interesting because I wasn't a big beer guy before we started doing the show.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing for me that's very intriguing is just how I used to think beer is beer. Every beer is, some beers might taste different, but beer is beer. But there's a different process in how you make these beers. And it's a real delicate process in finding different tastes and getting the mixes right and the recipes and all of that. My question is, with the brewing of the beer, how long? Or let me take it back. Not how long, but with brewing the beers, how do you decide what? Because some of your beers are just on tap, right?
Right.
Are they everything on tap is also in a can?
No, not everything.
So how do you decide what goes in a can? How do you decide what just stays on tap at the brew pub? How do you decide that?
No, it's a great question because we have a unique, like most breweries. One of my favorite episodes that you guys did was with Hip Hop Head down in Atlanta, and hearing what their journey has been to get to the point to where they're about to open up, and their focus and how they're going about getting their doors open, finding that brick and mortar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Our situation is pretty unique here at Haymarket too, because we started as a brew pub, which isn't unique. Brew pubs have been around for a long time, and they are found all over the country. But what we decided to do was everything that you had at our brew pub was only available on draft at our place. We didn't package anything for the first 6 years of our existence. And then we got into production, and we wanted to get into distribution, and we decided to open up in Michigan. And that's where all of our beers out for distribution, everything that's in a can or for kegs for bars and restaurants is coming out of. And it is very much a challenge for us to try and figure out going from brew pub to distribution, because at the beginning of it 4 years ago, when we got into distribution, we decided, all right, well, here are our mainstays. These are the 4 beers that we're going into the market with. And these are our most popular beers. And it's a good range of styles that we feel are going to resonate. The can art was awesome, or so we thought at the very beginning. And, you go through this learning process of, everything that you were so adamant about, like, yes, this is going to work. And then you hit stumbling blocks and you start to learn more and more about the process. And it's a humbling experience all around. But to answer your direct question, we now are focused on, after everything that we've learned in the last 4 years, we're now focused on watching trends. It becomes that business of volume. So, we take our own liberties, and that's the beauty of craft beer, is our interpretation of classic styles. It's IPA category, to your favorite, OT, that style, the IPA category is king in craft beer. Like everybody, if you're in distribution right now and you don't have an IPA out there, that's okay, but that's a large segment, and it's probably going to sell pretty decently because most consumers of craft beer are looking for that. So it's very interesting. We started, very, very much with, here's what we're passionate about. Here's what our guests and fans at the brew pub have said they loved, and we're going to put these into cans. And then you find out in the market that your brand is really as strong as only a couple of miles from your brick and mortar and from where you originated. So there's a process to which you have to start really making people aware of what you're doing, what you're about, And from a brew point stand, from a brew pub to go into distribution, it's not as easy as you would think, and that's definitely what we have found. But I think I kind of threw a lot at you there, but
right. No, that's pretty good. So you're not part of the actual brew making process, right?
While I have been privileged to be allowed into the brew house and a couple of times and have given my suggestions on styles, I leave it to the professionals. I have found that is not my calling, so to speak. But I'm very privileged and very, very grateful to be working with the talent that we've got in the brew team, both sides of the pond over here.
Can I go ahead?
Well, I wanted to just kind of talk about your journey personally, Mike. Did your journey with beer start with Rock Bottom, or like when did you? Because everybody has their different stories of how they got into my first beer or the whole craft beer industry and whatnot. Like, was Rock Bottom the start, or when did you first like, oh shit, I really like beer? Like, what was that like for you?
I would say it was at Rock Bottom. I had grown up in Northern California in Sacramento area. I had Mirror Pond from Deschutes. I had Sierra Nevada, Pale Ale, which is actually the beer that I was like, oh, it doesn't have to taste like Budweiser. It doesn't have to taste like Miller Lite or Bud Light. There's something else out there, and that was intriguing to me. And it was the local thing that got me with Sierra Nevada too, because not only did I find it delicious, I was like, oh, that's up the road. And there weren't a ton of craft breweries around in Northern California. And granted, when I was growing up in Northern California, I wasn't of age yet, so I was stealing out of my dad's fridge. And thankfully, my dad had really good taste. But it really kind of started at Rock Bottom, where there was an array. We had, I think it was somewhere about 20 taps and so many different beers. And Pete and what he was offering, he was inspired by Belgian beers. And I really hadn't had too many of those styles. And I got to try Saison DuPont, and I got to try Chimay Blue Label, and I got to try all of these things for trainings, and then started tasting Pete's versions of these classic styles that have been around for so many years out of Belgium and out of Europe. And I was like, wow, it just kind of opens up your palate to, it can be more than just some fizzy yellow beer. And
exactly.
It was really fun. It was really fun.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. My question really had to do with the brewing of the beer still. And just the chemistry behind it. That really just intrigues me. How there's certain beers that are much higher in alcohol volume than others. They taste different. Some are more hop forward than others. Just a real quick question. I don't know if I've asked anybody this, but what is the difference between dry hopped, double dry hop, triple dry hop? How is that? Like, what's the difference between? I feel I'm in a safe space, so I don't ask. In another setting, so I'll know. Before I embarrass myself somewhere else, but now I just embarrass myself to the entire beer community. But what's the difference between what makes something double dry, triple dry hop?
Yeah, it's the amount of hops that you're putting in at a certain stage in the process. So it's crazy because a lot of these different styles and a lot of these different nuanced styles are really kind of coming out of the last 5-10 years of American craft beer, which is really fun because there are the classic styles coming out of Europe that, the Belgian styles, the German styles with Reinheitsgebot, which are the brewing purity laws, and it has to be done this way and this way with only these ingredients, right? And then American craft breweries came along and they kind of upended it and said, well, what if we put a little bit of this in there? What if we put a little bit of that in there? What if we put more of this during this process? How would it come out? And so it's this experimentation mindset that really kind of drives a lot of this stuff to what we're seeing now, which is fun. And it's a great time to be a craft beer drinker. But as far as what makes a dry hop beer different from a double dry hop beer, that's all pure quantity of hops that you're putting in post fermentation in the fermentation vessel, where the tank is under pressure and you're really kind of steeping all of the oils of the hops into the liquid, so you get that beautiful blast of aroma and a tiny bit of flavor in there. But it's fun. It's all an experiment, and it becomes something to share and have a conversation about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I would kind of echo those sentiments as far as just like the past, because I came into this probably like 2013, 2014, 2013 probably, around just drinking all the from local breweries and whatnot. But the past 4 or 5 years, yeah, man, it's just been like, it's been so much just like, I don't know, just craziness, all types of different stuff. I've been having like oat lagers and this style. It's just like been like, what is going on? But it's dope to experience and be a part. It's a fun time to be in craft beer, is what I would say, like, as far as just all the stuff that's happening and whatnot. So I wanted to ask specifically, before we started, I was talking about Claire's Thirsty Ale. Now, you guys released this. When did you guys release it? This particular batch. This was a couple months ago, right? Or
this was in February 12th. Sorry, now I'm blanking. I'm embarrassed. January 12th. Sorry, January 12th is our anniversary for when we opened up the tap room in Bridgman. But it's also the anniversary here in Chicago of when we first tapped our own beers. Because even though we opened our doors on Christmas Eve of 2010, actually, we didn't open our doors to the public with our own beers on tap. We actually had a huge, gigantic tap takeover for Founders Brewing Company, which wasn't really in the market at that point in time here in Chicago. So it was really cool to have 13 different Founders beers on, and some really sought after stuff from them. But January 12th is when we celebrate our anniversary, because a couple years after celebrating our 1 year anniversary, celebrating our second anniversary here in Chicago, we realized that our families would basically disown us if we kept celebrating on Christmas Eve. So we moved it into January, and this is kind of that special beer release that we honor our anniversary with. It's called Claire's Thirsty Ale, as you had mentioned, and it's a beautiful imperial stout with raspberries that's been aged in bourbon barrels for different amounts of time. We do some blending. Each year is a little bit different because of the different barrels that we source, length of time in each barrel, which is that really becomes the mad scientist stuff that Pete is known for and really, really good at. So this batch, I hope you enjoyed, because it's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I do. Because I remember when it dropped, and I kept, I was on Twitter and Instagram, and I just kept seeing people talking about Claire's Thirsty, and I'm like, I've never like, what is going on? So a couple weeks back, when Kamal had said we're going to be getting you on the show, I'm like, oh, that's dope. And then when we got the beer and it was in there, I'm like, oh shit, this is the beer that everybody was. And I had it a couple days ago, and it was completely delicious. And like I said before we started, I was going to have it on this show, but I decided not to, because I don't want to drink my last can. I don't want to.
Yeah, we gotta go shop and get some more, man.
Yeah, no, I want to save it until like it's just like a random Sunday when I I still got that one can left. So good job on that joint, man. That joint is delicious.
Thanks, man. Mike, everybody who hasn't had it, sorry, one point I want to make, like, everybody who hasn't had it and wants to know kind of the one sentence tasting notes on it, I continually say, think if you had raspberries dipped in chocolate with a kick of bourbon, That's exactly it. This is your perfect dessert beer. It's amazing.
That is perfect because no, seriously, like it has those chocolate notes, but at the same time, like you just said, it does taste like a raspberry just like dipped in chocolate. It's super good, man. It is amazing, man.
That's what's up.
Yeah, glad you
Claire's
like it.
Thirsty Ale, people. Claire's Thirsty Ale. So Mike, what's your favorite at the brewery right now? If you're chilling, you're having a Haymarket meeting, what do you give me some of that?
If I'm not sipping on the Chicago Tavern beer or our Speaker's Wagon Pilsner light lager, it's going to be the Hazy is Lazy IPA. Hazy is Lazy is one of my favorite beers that we make. It's our best seller, but it's also not the name that you think. It's not the beer that you think the name indicates. So it's not a New England style IPA. It's not hazy at all. It's more ironically named than descriptor, right? So Pete, being who he is and in this game for so long, he always
very slick. Go ahead. Yeah.
Right. he joked a bunch when this craze of hazy beers came out. He said brewers have been making beer clear, trying to make beer clear for 2,000 years, and it took 2.5 years for this craze to hit, and it's not going anywhere.
It's 2.5, man.
Yeah. So it was a little funny for us, and we held out as long as we could to jump into that game. Yeah. And this was kind of our response to it, and it ended up being well received. And I think more than half of the people that grab it off the shelf, not having had it before, think it's funny, especially when they pour it out and they're like, wait, this isn't hazy at all. Oh, now I get the name. Hazy is Lazy.
Fire. That's dope. That's dope.
That's funny.
Even Goose Island actually had a reason. It probably isn't pointed at us, but they had a recent commercial out that said, some brewers out there think that hazy is lazy. Well, we don't.
Shots fired.
They're all great friends, and Sam Ross, who you've had on the show prior, who's we've been lucky to work with in the past over the Harold's 83 Honey Ale. He's a brewer over at Goose Island too. So all in good fun, and that's part of the reason I love being in this industry.
Right on.
I did have since we've covered the beer and whatnot. We didn't prep for any hip hop. It's rare we get to talk to someone from a brewery and just talk straight beer.
Right.
But if you can give us, if you had to go to one hip hop album, or one hit, or maybe one rapper you like, or whatever the case may be.
One artist,
yeah.
I was on my drive back from Bridgman today. I was actually going with some Outkast, actually. And,
you're all right with us. You're okay now.
I can never turn it off. I love it. Those guys are amazing, Andre and Big Boy. They're great. That always puts me in a good mood.
Right on. Yeah, that's very amped up music. Yeah. That's positive vibes. We talk to some brewers we do talk about music, but is there a movie? Because we talked to a couple of brewers about music and movies as well. So I'm going to ask you the same. Is there a movie? And I'm a film guy. So is there a top movie that you check for? That you've seen recently?
That's tough. I actually haven't watched too many movies as of late. Things been picking up at the brewery, which is great.
Yeah. But
I'll go with one that I can never turn off, and my wife makes fun of me all the time for it. It's usually like when I'm down sick, which thankfully isn't that often, and I'm just on the couch, and it's or it's that movie that comes on TV and you just can never turn it off. You've got to watch the rest of it.
Yep.
Shawshank Redemption. It's probably my top 3 movies of all time. It's just an awesome one.
That's a great. I haven't seen that in a minute, man. Damn,
That's
I
such
might
a
have
good
to
movie.
throw that on. Yeah, I have that category as well, man. Like there are movies I don't know what the category is called, but it's like when it comes on and you turn to it, you don't turn away from it. That's like
you're captivated.
Yeah, it's around. I think I Am Legend
Every
is one of
time.
those for me. If I Am Legend is on, it's just hard for me to turn
Wow.
off. I don't know, man. A lot of stuff. I recently let my boys watch Lost Boys. Kamal knows my
What?
Right.
Yeah.
You let the boys watch Lost Boys?
Kamal knows from college. I will.
Yeah.
It is not the best movie of all time, but it is the best movie of all time. Ever. There's nothing ever better than. I was on Amazon the other day trying to find some Lost Boys shirts, man. I'm trying to get a Kiefer Sutherland joint, So
there you go.
Michael. Yeah. So yeah, man.
Right on.
That's great.
That's what's up, man.
Beers and bars. Mike, we appreciate you for coming on. Hopefully soon I'll be making my way down so we can meet in person. But again, my cup is empty. But Beers and Bars, Mike, we appreciate you, man.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on, guys.
Yep.
And you're welcome anytime.
Right
anytime
on.
down at the brew pub. You let me know.